Intelligent Growth, realized from Gulam, where every week we deep dive into interesting topics for people working in media and tech. Welcome, everyone, to the Deep Dive. Our core mission here is, well, pretty simple. We take complex topics, we unpack a stack of expertly curated sources, and then we really try to extract the most important nuggets of knowledge and insight. Think of it as, you're a shortcut to being truly well-informed. We often find surprising facts, maybe add just enough humor to keep you hooked along the way. Today, we're plunging into a truly fascinating topic. It sits right at the intersection of, well, creativity, technology, and let's be honest, sheer business strategy. We're talking about the dramatic transformation of the media supply chain. We're going to explore how companies can truly maximize the value of their often vast content libraries in this incredibly dynamic digital age. It's about uncovering not just the hidden challenges, which are many, but also some surprisingly powerful, actionable solutions.
And it really is a paradox we're going to explore today. It's one that, frankly, many in the industry are grappling with right now. You see, despite this absolute explosion of content and technological capabilities that would have been, well, unimaginable just a few decades ago. I mean, we're talking about incredible tools and platforms right at our fingertips. Despite all that, many large media companies are actually struggling to fully monetize their vast content libraries. They're sitting on what should be gold mines, right? Yet they're finding it incredibly difficult to extract that enduring value. It's a deep-seated problem. It's within the very structure of their operations, as our source reveals. It's kind of an affliction, really, that's often overlooked because it's so deeply woven into how things have always been done.
That's such a crucial point, because it really underscores how much value is potentially being left on the table here. And our primary source for this deep dive is a strategic playbook. It's focused on media supply chain optimization, and it comes from Milima. Now, this isn't just theoretical stuff. It's packed with actionable insights, specifically designed for media and tech professionals like you listening now. So we're going to dissect its core arguments, its key findings, and give you, hopefully, a comprehensive understanding of what's really going on beneath the surface. And maybe more importantly, what can actually be done about it. Okay, so let's unpack this. Maybe we should start by setting the historical context a bit, right? Cast your mind back. Well, let's say 1995. If you were in the media world back then, distributing content, especially something like a blockbuster film, was a pretty predictable affair, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Predictable is the word. You had a theatrical release first, obviously. Then it would move to home video sales, think VHS tapes, maybe those shiny new DVDs if you were an early adopter.
Right, those chunky VHS tapes.
Yeah.
Then after that, it was licensed for television, like network broadcasts or maybe syndication deals.
Exactly. And then finally, you'd have your international distribution deals. The whole thing was, well, linear, highly controlled, and crucially finite. You knew the steps.
Yeah, finite. That's key. You knew the exact journey your content would take, from creation all the way to consumption. It was like a clear, almost stately procession of delivery. Now, contrast that with today. The shift is, well, it's staggering. That same single piece of content, that blockbuster film we imagine, it can now spawn almost instantly infinite variations. It's not just a movie anymore.
Not at all. It becomes this sprawling universe of content.
Exactly. Think about it. You've got director's cuts, made specifically for streaming platforms, right? To draw in subscribers, keep them hooked. Then, almost at the same time, you're carving out short-form clips. Perfectly crafted for those rapid-fire social media feeds, TikTok, Instagram Reels, designed for viral spread, quick hits.
And it doesn't stop there. Content bleeds into completely new mediums now. We see interactive experiences built for gaming consoles, maybe even VR worlds based on the film's IP.
And don't forget localization. That's huge now. Dozens, sometimes hundreds of markets, each needing its own language versions, subtle cultural nuances tweaked, maybe different versions entirely to comply with local regulations.
And all of that is then fed into personalized recommendation engines. Algorithms ensuring that specific clip or that version finds its way to countless specific touch points, making every viewing experience potentially unique to the individual.
It's this exponential multiplication of content touch points, as you put it. And that's both the industry's greatest opportunity, surely, but also its most perplexing challenge.
It really is. The digital age didn't just add a few more delivery options. It fundamentally shattered the old paradigms. It broke the mold. Content, truly, is no longer just content. That single film, it's not a linear story you watch once and you're done. It transforms into this dynamic universe of experiences. A film might instantly become the basis for an app, or an immersive virtual world, or those bite-sized social media clips that become cultural memes. It might even just serve as the foundation for sophisticated, personalized recommendations for other related titles. It's multidimensional, fluid. It adapts.
And the audience has changed right along with it, haven't they?
Completely. We've gone from being, passive recipients just sitting back, watching whatever was served up, to being highly active participants. We're engaging with content across this explosion of devices and platforms, our phones, tablets, smart TVs, gaming consoles, even our watches now.
Yeah, everywhere.
And the thirst for video, especially, has just increased dramatically. Our source actually highlights that the average American now subscribes to 4 streaming services. And at the same time, they're engaging with social streams like TikTok and Instagram Reels constantly. We're just consuming more, faster, across more diverse channels than ever.
Which you'd think should be fantastic news for media companies, right? All that demand.
You would think so. But here's that curious paradox again. The core problem that seems to emerge from all this abundance. Despite this unprecedented volume of content, despite truly global reach, despite, content is king and having more avenues than ever, many large media companies are grappling with a really profound challenge. They're struggling to extract maximum enduring value from their vast content libraries in what's become an incredibly fractured market.
So they're sitting on these potential gold mines.
Exactly. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it means these companies are accumulating assets like crazy, investing huge amounts in creation, in acquisition, but they're leaving a gold mine of content opportunities untapped.
Right.
Those traditional linear supply chain models, the ones perfect for the 1995 scenario, they're completely overwhelmed now. They just weren't built to simultaneously manage content across dozens of formats, multiple languages, complex compliance rules, and a whole bunch of different monetization strategies, all at once and at massive scale.
Right. So when you think about it, what does this all really mean for you listening, if you're working in media and tech today? It suggests there's this hidden problem, doesn't it? A deep-seated issue, quietly eating away at value, hindering growth, even while content production seems to be exploding. And that really brings us squarely to the core challenge that's outlined in our source material. This is where the Playbook offers, I think, a pretty profound realization. It cuts right to the heart of the matter. The problem isn't a lack of content. We've established that. And it's certainly not a lack of innovative technology. The tech is often amazing. The real culprit, the deep-seated issue we hinted at, is fragmentation. And this fragmentation, as the source points out so clearly, it's a hidden cost. It kind of hides in plain sight.
That's a great way to put it. Hides in plain sight.
It's like this invisible tax that silently chips away at your bottom line, at your operational efficiency, day in, day out.
Yeah, think of it as a silent tax on marketing performance. And really, on overall business performance. It shows up in so many ways that maybe individually seem like minor annoyances or just, the cost of doing business, but add them all up, they create a massive drag.
Like what specifically? What are we talking about?
Well, think about deeply siloed teams. Different departments working on the same content but barely communicating, maybe using different tools, different standards. Disconnected tools is another big one. Systems that can't talk to each other, forcing people into manual data transfers, re-entering information. Errors creeping in.
Right, the classic swivel chair interface.
Exactly. Then there's duplicated assets, multiple versions of the same file scattered across different servers, different storage systems, wasting space, causing confusion about which one is the right one, the master, and unclear workflows. Nobody's quite sure who does what when, leading to constant confusion, rework, approvals getting stuck, just wasted effort.
And the consequences of all that.
They're pretty dire. Lost time, obviously. Teams spending hours, maybe days, just searching for the assets they need. Brand inconsistency is a big risk. Different versions of logos, promos, even core content floating around without proper oversight. Huge compliance risks. You might accidentally use a version that isn't cleared for a specific market, legally or culturally. That can be incredibly costly, and ultimately a much slower speed to market. Every delay in getting content out to your audience is a missed opportunity, especially now when everyone expects things instantly.
And it sounds like it goes even deeper than just the marketing side, impacting day-to-day ops, too.
Yeah.
Let's maybe drill down into some of those operational complexities that define modern content supply chains that the source mentions. First, there's the whole issue of diverse users and locations, right?
Oh, absolutely. You're not just dealing with a small team in one building anymore. Today's media operations have to juggle this dizzying array of users. You've got editors needing raw footage at 3 a.m. in London, marketing staff pulling promo clips in New York, distributors sending finished content to platforms in Tokyo, compliance teams in Berlin checking everything against local rules. These people are often spread across multiple time zones, trying to collaborate, often in real time, on files that are absolutely massive and frequently require specific specialized software just to open them.
It sounds like a logistical nightmare just waiting to happen.
It often is. And then there are the elusive files themselves. Even when content is supposedly stored digitally online somewhere, it can become incredibly hard to find because of these fragmented systems.
Have you ever tried finding, say, a specific version of a video? Maybe you need the clean master, but with a particular subtitle track attached, and it's just buried.
All the time. Its location is unclear. Maybe its status isn't updated. Maybe it's locked away on some old server nobody remembers the password to, or worse, on a tape in an archive somewhere.
Yeah, that fosters chaos.
Yeah.
And real operational stress for the teams involved.
It's not just annoying, it's a major bottleneck. It can genuinely grind entire projects to a halt. Imagine trying to restore a classic film for a new 4K streaming release, only to find the high-resolution master is on some obscure tape format in an unregulated archive halfway across the world.
That's a very real scenario, unfortunately.
Very real.
And then there's the technical infrastructure labyrinth. Don't even get me started.
Oh, yeah. The sheer complexity.
Media operations today have to juggle this.
Yeah.
This plethora of codecs, containers, and complex storage systems, all spread across disconnected silos.
We're talking an overwhelming variety of video formats: ProRes, H.264, H.265, VP9, AV1, the list goes on. And then the containers they live in, .pumlog, .mp4, .mkv, .mxf.
So imagine you've got a video file encoded in one codec for, say, a streaming platform, but then a different team needs it for a social media clip, and that requires a completely different format, different specs.
In a fragmented system, that's not just a simple click-to-convert thing. It's often a manual, time-consuming process, highly prone to errors. Sometimes it even requires going back to the original master files and doing a completely fresh render. It's what people call transcoding hell.
Transcoding hell, I like that, where content can take hours, maybe even days, just to convert properly.
Yeah.
Leading to compatibility issues, data loss, corruption.
And the demands on this infrastructure just keep increasing, don't they? Higher bit rates, the push to 4K, now even 8K formats. These dramatically increase file sizes, processing power needs.
Which means that simple acts, something that sounds so basic, like searching for and managing video assets, becomes incredibly time-consuming.
And that stat from the source is just staggering. Industry studies showing that up to a third of all content searches fail entirely.
A third. Imagine that.
Yeah.
A third of the time, someone is looking for a piece of content, they just can't find it.
Think about how that compounds across a large organization. Massive wasted effort, project delays stacking up, missed opportunities. It's huge.
And this fractured reality, it extends right into post-production too, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That whole area has been turned upside down.
Utterly transformed. Post-production used to be relatively sequential, time-bound tasks, finish the picture edit, then send it to sound mix, then color correction, then VFX.
Right, a linear flow.
But today, the demands from massively scaled internet streaming services, all these emerging video formats, they've vastly expanded the workloads. Content producers are now tasked with preparing multiple versions of each file. It's not just one master copy anymore and you're done.
No way.
You need a version tailored for Netflix's specs, another for Hulu, maybe a different one for YouTube. Then you need language variations for global audiences, dubbed versions, subtitled versions, maybe in different fonts for accessibility. Then you have strict censorship rules for specific regions, like about making cuts or blurring things for certain countries. And on top of all that, a huge array of different metadata requirements for this crowded field of distributors. Each platform wants different info, formatted differently.
Each one needs a distinct, meticulously prepared deliverable package.
Exactly. And this creates what the source really accurately calls a perpetual rush.
Perpetual rush. Yeah, that sounds about right.
The traditional fixed release schedules, they've largely vanished. Now there's this imperative to push new content into distribution pipelines as quickly as possible. It just shortens the timeframes dramatically, even as the workload itself is exploding exponentially. It's just a constant race against the clock.
which must put immense pressure on creative teams.
Immense pressure, contributing to burnout, increasing the risk of costly errors, all because the underlying systems, the supply chain, just isn't designed for this level of simultaneous high-speed, high-variety output.
And what about quality control, QC? That must have changed too.
Massively. It used to be a relatively simple checkpoint, right? Does the
Yeah.
video look okay? Does the audio sound okay? Thumbs up or down?
Yeah, basically.
Now, it's become this complex, multi-layered mandate. Driven by the sheer volume and variety of all this content, it absolutely demands automation and scalability now, just because of the numbers involved. You can't manually check thousands of hours of content in dozens of variations. It requires precise, often automated analysis of everything. From basic video and audio sync all the way to checking ancillary content elements like UI graphics burned into the video, correct ad placement timings, ensuring closed captions are accurate and synced, audio descriptions are present.
It's a far more intricate and demanding process than just a quick visual check.
Way beyond that.
So yeah, you can really see how this silent tax of fragmentation, woven into literally every step of the process, just adds up, costing media companies enormous amounts of time, money, and crucially, those missed opportunities to truly capitalize on the content they own. It's a significant drag on their potential. Okay, so that paints a pretty challenging picture, but the industry isn't just sitting back, right? Even with these daunting systemic challenges, the industry has responded, often with remarkable ingenuity, actually, leveraging technology as a powerful, though maybe sometimes only partial, remedy.
That's right. It's not all doom and gloom. There's a lot of innovation happening, pushing back against this fragmentation, finding ways to cope, to improve.
So what are some of these responses? First up, the source talks about agile methodologies. Now, this might sound familiar if you're maybe from a software development background, because that's where it really originated. But it's now making waves, really revolutionizing media production, particularly in areas like filmmaking, but also crucially in content supply chain management.
Right. Agile's core principles are adaptability, intense collaboration between teams, and making iterative updates, small changes, frequently based on feedback.
So what does that actually look like in practice for media?
Well, instead of having these rigid, long-term plans set in stone months in advance, Agile allows for much more flexible planning adjustments. You might change casting decisions mid-production based on early footage, or reallocate budget dynamically, or even shift your distribution strategy if a new streaming platform suddenly takes off.
So it's about being able to pivot quickly, to respond to market changes or maybe creative insights without completely derailing the whole operation.
Precisely. And that approach significantly enhances efficiency, especially in those really complex post-production tasks we talked about. Editing, sound mixing, and critically, managing version control across all those different markets. Imagine trying to manage 50 different edits for 50 regions, each with unique compliance rules. Agile helps streamline that.
Oh.
By breaking down those huge, overwhelming tasks into smaller, more manageable sprints or cycles.
And how is it implemented? What are the mechanisms?
Often it involves things like daily stand-up meetings. Now, these aren't just arbitrary check-ins. They're designed to foster transparent dialogue. What did you do yesterday? What are you doing today? Any roadblocks? This allows for really quick issue resolution and ensures everyone stays aligned with the project goals while crucially maintaining that visibility across the supply chain. Everyone knows where things stand.
Okay.
Teams using Agile often adopt what are called lean media principles. They might use specific Scrum ceremonies like those daily meetings, sprint reviews to show progress, retrospectives to learn and improve, or they might use Kanban systems. Those are visual workflow management tools like a digital whiteboard that help identify bottlenecks in the process in real time. You can see where work is piling up.
And the result of all this?
The result is often a significant shortening of the time it takes to launch new content. It reduces the operational workload by cutting out waste and rework, and it allows creative teams to stay much more nimble and responsive.
Interesting. Okay, so Agile helps with the process side. What about the tech itself? You mentioned automation and AI earlier.
Yes, these have become absolute critical enablers in this whole battle against complexity and fragmentation. Automation, simply put, is about streamlining those supply chain workflows, drastically reducing the burden of repetitive content processing tasks.
Like the transcoding hell we talked about.
Exactly. Think about all those mundane, repeatable steps in preparing content for different platforms, reformatting video, resizing images, running basic quality checks. Automation can handle huge volumes of that at machine speed, far faster and more consistently than humans.
And where does AI, artificial intelligence, fit in?
AI takes it a step further. It plays a pivotal role in actually enhancing decision-making across the entire content lifecycle. It frees up the creative teams to focus on what they do best: innovation, storytelling, the uniquely human aspects of content creation. While the AI systems handle routine optimization, predictive analysis, maybe even content discovery recommendations.
Are we seeing this integrated now?
Definitely. Advanced platforms are now integrating generative AI and machine learning models across practically every stage of the media supply chain. So from VOD packaging, getting content ready for on-demand platforms and delivery, through to intricate localization processes, even the final mastering of content. AI is getting involved.
Can you give some specific examples?
Sure. We're seeing AI-driven systems that automate things like content conformance, ensuring a file meets all the complex technical specifications for a particular platform without needing manual checks. Advanced quality control, where AI can detect subtle visual or audio imperfections, maybe flag potential photosensitive epilepsy triggers, things humans might miss, even identifying optimal ad insert locations within video content. Not just based on simple timing, but maybe analyzing scene changes or emotional beats in the narrative to minimize viewer disruption.
Wow.
And Gen AI. It could potentially, say, rapidly generate multiple different versions of marketing copy or trailers for different global markets, maybe even taking into account cultural nuances identified within the film's content itself. The possibilities are really expanding fast.
Okay, that's powerful stuff. The source also highlights metadata management as an unsung hero. Tell us about that. What exactly is metadata in this context?
Right, the unsung hero. At its simplest, metadata is just descriptive data about your media assets, things like the title, the director, the actors, the genre, the basic stuff.
Okay.
But its function is anything but simple in a modern supply chain. Think of metadata as the incredibly detailed genetic code of your content. Without good, rich metadata, your massive content library is just, well, a huge pile of unlabeled digital boxes.
Hard to find anything specific.
Exactly. Imagine trying to find, say, every scene across your entire archive featuring a specific actor driving a specific type of car. Without rich metadata, that's almost impossible, or would take weeks of manual searching. With rich metadata, perhaps automatically generated by AI, every single component, every gene of your content can be instantly identified, tracked, and utilized for very specific purposes.
So it's like the connective tissue.
That's a perfect analogy. It's the connective tissue that ties all the different creative workflows and distribution points together. It enables that sophisticated supply chain orchestration we're aiming for.
And the benefits, they sound pretty significant.
Oh, they're enormous. First, it profoundly enhances content discoverability. Makes it easier for audiences to find what they love on streaming platforms, sure, but also easier for your internal teams to find the specific assets they need for marketing, localization, or repurposing. It dramatically improves workflow efficiency, ensuring the right versions with the right components go to the right places consistently. No more guessing games. It expands accessibility. Think about precise closed captions, multiple language subtitles, audio descriptions, all driven by metadata. This opens up your content to much broader audiences.
Right.
It enables that highly granular personalization we talked about, allowing platforms to recommend content that's incredibly tailored to individual viewer tastes and history, which leads to much higher engagement.
And monetization.
Huge impact there, too. It greatly simplifies monetization through comprehensive rights management. Good metadata helps you know exactly where, when, and how your content can be used and licensed across complex global agreements. You avoid costly mistakes.
And you mentioned AI plays a role here, too.
Absolutely transformative. AI-powered metadata tools can now automatically aggregate data, create new metadata, and enrich existing descriptions. Moving far beyond just basic tags like action or comedy, they can generate incredibly detailed genres, keywords based on the actual content, identify moods or sentiments within scenes, even perform object recognition, identifying people, places, logos, products right there in the video stream.
Which leads to
Smarter discovery for viewers and ultimately higher viewer engagement across global markets, because you're ensuring the content finds its most receptive audience much more effectively.
Okay, metadata, the unsung hero. Got it. What else is helping?
Well, a foundational piece really underpinning a lot of this is leveraging cloud and centralized systems.
The cloud. Of course.
Yeah, you really can't run a modern global content supply chain without it anymore. The sheer demand for real-time collaboration among teams scattered all over the world has made cloud-based solutions pretty much indispensable. They provide the flexibility you need, the scalability to handle massive files and peak workloads, and the global accessibility required.
So how does that work in practice?
We're seeing integrated edge-to-cloud storage solutions becoming key. This allows for real-time processing and decision-making closer to where the action is, maybe on location during a shoot, the edge, but still syncing back seamlessly to the central cloud infrastructure. This enables teams, no matter where they are physically, maybe an editor is on location with flaky internet, or a colorist is in a high-end studio across the world, they can potentially work on the same content, maybe using proxies almost simultaneously, with changes propagating globally while maintaining that accessibility.
And the centralization part.
That's crucial too. Centralized asset management systems, sometimes called MAMs or PAMs, they enhance resource access, everyone knows where to look. They safeguard data integrity, preventing conflicting versions or accidental deletions. And maybe most importantly, they provide that all-important single source of truth that's absolutely necessary for effective supply chain optimization.
The single source of truth.
hmm
So everyone is working from the same correct, latest version of the asset.
Exactly. It drastically reduces that elusive files problem we discussed earlier. This unified approach eliminates the need for all those disparate manual file transfers between systems and ensures consistency across all operations.
Okay, so putting it all together, agile, AI, automation, metadata, cloud, centralization.
Yeah.
You can definitely see the industry isn't just sitting by. It's actively deploying some incredible tech, really pushing the boundaries, trying to tackle these fragmentation issues head on.
hmm
But you hinted there's a deeper insight here,
Yeah.
something beyond just applying new tech.
Yes. This is where the playbook, our source material, delivers what I think is its most profound realization, the real aha moment.
Okay, lay it on us.
It cuts right to the heart of everything we've been discussing. The core understanding isn't just that fragmentation is a problem or just an unfortunate side effect of rapid growth and success. The deep insight, the real takeaway, is that fragmentation is not merely a symptom of growth. It has become an operating model, albeit a costly one.
Wow. Okay, let that sink in. Fragmentation as an operating model.
Exactly. Think about that. Companies haven't just tolerated fragmentation. In many cases, they've inadvertently built their entire operations around it. Silo by silo, tool by tool. It's become the default way of doing business, almost like organizational muscle memory. This is just how we do things here.
And because of that, the conventional approach doesn't really work.
Precisely. Because fragmentation is the model, the source argues that the conventional approach of layering on dashboards and reports after problems arise is retrospective and fails to address the root cause.
So just looking at reports showing delays or errors, that's looking backwards.
Right, you're just looking at the aftermath, seeing the PowerPoints after they've already caused inefficiency, lost revenue, maybe damaged the brand. You're tracking the symptoms, accurately maybe, but you're not getting to the core of why those problems are happening over and over again in the first place.
It's like putting a Band-Aid on a gaping wound without understanding how the wound occurred. Or maybe worse, knowing it's there, but just accepting it as normal, part of the job.
And it means the very tools companies sometimes buy to solve fragmentation might, ironically, end up contributing to it if they're not integrated correctly, if they just become another siloed point solution added to the existing pile.
Okay, so if fragmentation is the operating model and dashboards are just retrospective, what's the breakthrough? What's the alternative?
This is truly the breakthrough insight, and it's potentially transformative if embraced. It means that true visibility and maximized content value must be built into the supply chain operating model itself. It's not an add-on feature. It's not a post-facto analysis report you run at the end of the month. It has to be fundamental to how the business actually operates, moment to moment.
Built in, not bolted on.
Exactly. It requires consciously orchestrating workflows, assets, and decisions across the entire content lifecycle in real time.
Okay, orchestrating. That sounds powerful. But what does that truly mean in practice? What does orchestration look like?
It means moving beyond simply managing assets in one system or tracking processes in another, all in isolation. Think of a grand symphony orchestra. You don't just have individual musicians playing their parts whenever they feel like it. That would be chaos, right?
Cacophony.
You have a conductor, someone ensuring every instrument, every section, every note works together in harmony, following the same score, the same tempo. That's what orchestration is for your content supply chain.
So Applying that analogy.
It means creating genuinely integrated systems that unify all those disparate data sources we talked about, bringing all the crucial pieces of information together into a single coherent whole that's visible to everyone who needs to see it. It means fostering responsive, proactive collaboration between teams, enabling them to work together seamlessly, anticipating needs, rather than just reactively putting out fires after problems emerge. And it's about designing systems that can adapt and learn from data, maybe using AI to continuously improve workflows, rather than just reporting on what went wrong yesterday or how slow things were last quarter.
So this is the big differentiator.
This really seems to be the differentiator for the most successful media companies right now, according to the source. They haven't just adopted new tools piecemeal, they've recognized this fundamental shift in operating philosophy is required. They're not just managing content in that traditional sense, pushing it through a series of disconnected gates or silos. Instead, they're actively orchestrating intelligent ecosystems designed for enduring, agile value creation across every touchpoint in the global supply chain.
Intelligent ecosystems.
Okay, this isn't just a technical upgrade like getting faster servers. It's a strategic overhaul of how the entire organization functions around its most valuable asset, its content library. It's about shifting from reactive problem solving to proactive, continuous value creation.
Okay, I get it. So when you think about this whole concept, this shift from fragmented management to orchestrated ecosystems, this isn't just about tweaking things for operational efficiency, which is important, obviously.
Right, efficiency is a benefit, but not the whole story.
It's about fundamentally rethinking how content actually flows through an organization, specifically to create real, lasting value for you listening and for your business. It's about changing the very DNA of how content is managed, distributed, and ultimately monetized. Now, let's maybe pivot and talk about the profound implications of this insight, especially when you look at it from the C-suite perspective. Because this isn't just about making workflows smoother for the teams on the ground. The source argues it directly impacts top-line revenue growth management and critical global market expansion strategies.
Absolutely, and the timing is crucial here. The source highlights a critical challenge facing the industry. That traditional reliance on subscription models like SVOD is actually plateauing in many mature markets. Growth is slowing down. This makes a strategic shift towards more data-driven strategies, often with AI at their core, not just nice to have, but pretty much imperative for finding sustainable monetization and new revenue streams.
Okay, so let's dive into that first part, revenue growth management. How does an orchestrated supply chain help here?
Well, first, it enables that move beyond siloed content delivery methods we've been talking about towards embracing these holistic supply chain ecosystems. Within that ecosystem, AI-powered strategies are enabling unprecedented precision in audience targeting
How so?
through incredibly granular customer segmentation, using sophisticated machine learning models to analyze viewer behavior, preferences, demographics, viewing context, all sorts of signals. This ensures that content isn't just broadly distributed hoping it finds an audience. Instead, it reaches the right audiences at the optimal moments for engagement across all your global markets.
Can you give an example?
Sure. AI could predict with high accuracy which specific audience segments in, say, Germany are most likely to respond positively to a niche sci-fi series originally made for the US market. This allows for hyper-targeted promotional campaigns just for them, maybe even suggesting the optimal time of day to push the notification, maximizing the conversion rate and viewership. It's a level of precision marketing that was simply impossible before.
Okay, that's finding the audience for new content. What about existing libraries?
This is where advanced supply chain solutions become really powerful. They can genuinely transform what might otherwise be stagnant content libraries into active revenue streams.
You mean all that older stuff, the archive?
Exactly. Think about all that archival footage, those older shows or films, just sitting there basically collecting digital dust, often because the cost and complexity of finding them, restoring them, clearing rights, and reformatting them for new platforms was just too high, or maybe nobody even knew they existed because the metadata was poor.
Right, trapped value.
Precisely. These modern, orchestrated solutions allow for efficiently restoring those inactive assets. They streamline their identification using advanced metadata and search tools, and then they help optimize the licensing opportunities for them across different regions, different platforms, maybe different business models like fast channels.
So it's about breathing new life into existing IP, turning those dormant assets into potentially continuous profit generators.
That's exactly the idea, unlocking the hidden value in your back catalog.
And you mentioned fast channels, free ad-supported streaming TV. How do they fit in?
Fast channels are emerging as really attractive turnkey solutions for content monetization, especially for library content. They're proving particularly effective for repurposing existing library shows and films across international markets. It gives that older content new life, finds it new audiences, all without the high barriers to entry associated with subscription services. You monetize through ads instead.
Okay. And are there other new models emerging beyond just ads?
Yes, absolutely. The integration of things like shoppable video and live commerce is truly transformative, though still evolving. This essentially turns the content itself directly into a sales channel. It allows viewers to purchase products that are featured in, or maybe just related to, the content they're watching right then and there, maybe with a click on their screen.
Like buying the clothes a character is wearing.
Exactly, or maybe a prop from the set, or merchandise related to the show. It blurs the lines between entertainment and retail, and this seems especially appealing to mobile-first audiences, particularly in some emerging markets, where direct commerce integrated into content streams is rapidly gaining traction.
Fascinating. Okay, so that's revenue growth. What about the implications for global expansion strategies?
Equally profound, really. That ability we talked about to extract granular customer data and insights using advanced AI and machine learning models allows for incredibly precise targeting, even in highly diverse international markets. You're not just taking a shotgun approach, launching the same content everywhere and hoping for the best. You have data-driven insights telling you what specific content resonates in Japan versus Brazil, what distribution models are preferred locally, what cultural nuances absolutely need to be respected.
So it allows for truly tailored market entry and growth strategies, less guesswork.
Much less guesswork. And critically, supply chain optimization becomes absolutely crucial when you're trying to adapt content effectively to all these local market nuances.
Because localization is complex.
Localization complexity is often cited as a significant operational hurdle for global expansion. It's a major bottleneck. It's not just about translating dialogue accurately, though that's hard enough. It involves intricate cultural sensitivity, making sure humor lands correctly, that idioms and references aren't offensive or nonsensical. It involves rigorous legal compliance for content ratings, censorship rules, which vary wildly, and specific technical requirements for delivery to each platform in each region. It's a minefield.
But the source says solutions exist.
Yes, the good news is that comprehensive, often AI-powered solutions now exist that can handle this complexity much more efficiently. For incredibly fast and accurate subtitling, for generating high-quality dubbing, maybe even in various dialects using synthetic voices, and for automating metadata translation across dozens of language pairs. This ensures not only that you meet regional compliance rules, but also that you maintain that vital cultural sensitivity, making the content truly resonate with local audiences, almost as if it was originally made for them.
And the payoff for getting that localization right.
The benefits are huge. Firstly, it makes your content genuinely accessible worldwide, dramatically expanding your potential audience and opening up lucrative new markets. But maybe just as importantly, it maximizes your monetization opportunities in those non-native markets, precisely because the supply chain processes underpinning the localization are optimized and efficient. You can afford to localize more content more quickly.
Right.
So by truly understanding regional demands through data, crafting tailored content offerings, and supporting it all with a unified content strategy and efficient distribution networks, C-suite executives can really differentiate their global market approach. They can achieve growth while actually maintaining or even improving operational efficiency. It turns that complexity from a barrier into potentially a competitive edge.
Yeah, you can definitely see how this isn't just about tech for tech's sake or smoothing out workflows. It's a fundamental shift in business strategy. It seems to be about unlocking potentially enormous revenue potential, both here at home and maybe increasingly globally. All from content that might otherwise have been underutilized, undervalued, or just plain lost in that labyrinth of fragmented systems we started with. Okay, so as we start to wrap this up, it seems like as content continues its relentless proliferation, and as audiences continue to fragment into ever more niche communities across global markets, the critical question for executives in media and entertainment really changes, doesn't it? It goes beyond just simple production metrics, like how much content did we make this quarter or how many subscribers did we add. The fundamental question based on this playbook seems to become, are you merely distributing content, or are you orchestrating an intelligent supply chain ecosystem designed for enduring, agile value across every single global touchpoint?
That's it, exactly. Are you just pushing boxes out the door, or are you the conductor of the orchestra?
Right, a conductor, not just a delivery person.
And the future of media success truly seems to hinge not just on producing more content, though quality content is always table stakes, but on creating smarter, more integrated pathways to value. It's about building these optimized supply chains that transform those potentially stagnant content libraries from archives into dynamic, living revenue engines.
Yeah, what's fascinating there is the idea you mentioned earlier, viewing content not just as static assets, files on a server.
Exactly. But seeing them as living components of an intelligent an ecosystem that constantly adapts, learns from data, and optimizes itself across every stage of the global supply chain. This means constantly reevaluating content, repackaging it, redistributing it based on real-time data, based on market shifts, based on audience behavior. It never just sits still.
And it really reinforces that powerful idea from the source. Fragmentation is a choice, not an inevitability.
It absolutely is a choice. It's often a habit, maybe born out of rapid growth or mergers, but it's a habit that can be broken. The companies that truly recognize this fundamental shift, the ones that embrace this paradigm of orchestration over fragmentation, they're going to be the ones that transform those hidden costs of complexity we talked about into tangible competitive advantages. They'll be the ones who manage to turn the inherent chaos of global content distribution into something more like an orchestrated symphony achieving sustainable, scalable success, where every piece of content, old and new, plays its optimal part in generating value.
A powerful vision. So I guess the final thought for everyone listening as you consider your own strategies, your own operations is simply this. Can you afford not to optimize your content supply chain? Well, that brings us to the end of this deep dive into the complex world of media supply chain optimization. Thank you so much for joining us. If you found this discussion valuable, maybe spark some ideas, please do like and subscribe to the deep dive. It helps others find us and ensures you won't miss out on future insights into critical topics in media and tech. We'll be back next time with another deep dive.